Hello, good morning, everybody. Heart-led leaders, humans, teachers, coaches, therapists. This morning, I'm going to be doing a somatics frequently asked questions. So I've compiled a list of probably the most common questions that I get. I'm going to address each one of them today. I'm going to try to move through these pretty quickly. And if anybody hops on and you have a question, go ahead and put it right in the chat box and I'll do my best to answer it. Okay, so one of the most common questions I get about Hanna Somatics when I tell people that I'm a Hanna Somatic educator is, what is it and why have I never heard of it? Okay, so I tell people, it's kind of my go-to statement, Hanna Somatics is a neuromuscular retraining method where we release the muscular tension through gentle movement. Okay, and the reason that most people have not heard of this technique is that the people who, I guess, founded it, created it, have intentionally kept it very small. Okay, so people haven't heard of this because it has not proliferated in the same way as other kinds of methods. Even, for example, something like Feldenkrais, which maybe you've heard of. The other reason is that the guy who created this method, Thomas Hanna, he died during his very first training in 1991, I think, 1991, in a car accident. And he only trained 40 people at that time. So this method, just like I said, hasn't been widely shared with the world, and that's why you've never heard of it. So on to the next question. I'm in pain. Can this help me? Yes. If your pain is being caused by muscular contraction in your body or a tension overall in your body, this method can help you. It can relieve the tension and pain because it helps your body to change the tonicity of the muscles so that they're longer and more relaxed. And when a longer and more relaxed muscle is released, the pain and the tension is also released. So that's pretty exciting. Can this help me with pain from an injury? Yes, it can help you with pain from an injury. I had multiple injuries. I work with people who have ongoing injuries. Either they're maybe about to have surgery or they recently had surgery. It also works in that case too to help recover from injuries and surgeries. Okay, what about nerve pain? Can this help me with nerve pain? Yes, it can potentially help with nerve pain if the nerve pain is being caused by a muscle compressing a space in your body and then pressing on a nerve. There's times I've worked with clients who've had nerve pain all down their legs, and we do some movements to release the muscles in their pelvis and lower back, and the nerve pain instantly vanishes, right? So it can definitely help with nerve pain if it's caused by compression through the body because of muscles, because of tight muscles, okay? Is it like yoga? Is it like physical therapy? It has intersections, I would say. There are some physical therapists who are trained to do what I do and use these principles in their physical therapy work. And there are yoga teachers like myself who are trained in somatic principles and use these principles as well. So there's definitely an intersection, but Hanna Somatics itself is its own thing. It's not just a branch off of yoga or a branch off of physical therapy. It's its own thing. It's its own, I guess you could say, modality, right? Okay, I've heard of somatic experiencing and somatic psychology. Is this some kind of emotional process that you're going to lead me through? You talk about how it can relieve trauma, and is it some kind of psychological, emotional thing that you're trained to do? Yes and no. Ultimately, no. It is not necessarily an emotional process for everyone, but because we are working with your body and we are working with contractive patterns that may be a result of traumas and life experiences, that stuff definitely comes up in session. Not with everybody. Even people who might expect it to don't necessarily have it come up. And then sometimes someone who wasn't expecting to have a big emotional release has one. I can hold space for anybody's experience, and I'm trained to continue to guide you back to the physical experiences you're having in your body. And so that's a really wonderful piece of what I do is people have these really profound emotional releases based on the contractions they were holding in their body. But that's not necessarily what we're trying to do here. We're not necessarily trying to trigger some kind of emotional response. That happens and we allow it to happen and we move through it. But I will continue to bring my clients back to the muscular contractions and releasing the muscular contractions that are part of that emotional experience. So is it energy work? Is it Reiki? What really is it? Well, no, it's not energy work and it's not Reiki. But it's also not energy work, in the sense that everything is energy. And when I work with someone who's very sensitive, who is maybe a healer or an energy worker themselves, they experience a shift in their auric field. They experience a shift in their energy. So depending on the type of person you are, you could have an energetic response to Hanna Somatic work. And honestly, most people do, whether they're aware of it or not. But again, that's not the intention, and that's not what I'm trained in, is not a specific kind of energy clearing or energy work. Somatics is very literal. It's very focused on the material, muscular contractions and releases that our body goes through. Okay, next question. What is the difference between Feldenkrais, if you've heard of that before, and Hanna Somatics? Is there a difference? Is it kind of the same thing? Well, yes and no. It is related, meaning that if there was something out there that was the closest thing to Hanna Somatics, it would be Feldenkrais, because Thomas Hanna was a functional integration practitioner. He was actually one of the first people who invited Moshe Feldenkrais to the United States in the 1960s and 70s. So Thomas Hanna took his knowledge of functional movement in Feldenkrais, and he built upon that to create Hanna Somatics. He built upon it with his somatic philosophies, and also with his understanding of neurophysiology, which he had started studying and become passionate about in the 1960s. So this really is similar to Feldenkrais, but it has another layer, which is that we specifically work with your motor cortex to get your cortical spinal tract to release and change the tonicity of your muscles. That's really the goal of Hanna Somatics, is to change the tonicity of your muscles so that your muscles come back to a longer, more natural length. Okay? And that's not necessarily what they're focused on in Feldenkrais. They're focused on functional movement, but they're not focused on necessarily the resetting of the muscular tension. Okay. I can't lie on the floor. Can I still do somatics? Yes, you can. I have actually taught chair somatics in retirement homes and communities where people are maybe wheelchair bound or they can't move very easily. And this practice can be translated in any configuration. You could be standing, you could be sitting. My clients learn how to do movements to take care of themselves in all kinds of positions to gravity. So yes, you can do it even if you can't lay on the floor. Do you use foam rollers, acupressure, any kind of props in this practice? Generally, no, we don't. We use pillows to support your body so that you can lay comfortably and you can allow your muscles to relax completely as you come out of movement. But we don't use any props. You don't really need any props to do this work, to do this movement. You don't even really need a specific environment except a place that you can lay down comfortably on the floor. Okay. Next question, and this gets a little bit more into people who've already been doing this work with me a while, ask this question. Why do I have to go so slowly? Why do I have to do such slow movement? Okay, the reason you have to go really slowly in somatics goes back to the reason that we're doing it and the big picture message of what somatics offers, which is turning down the tension in your muscles using the motor cortex of your brain. You only access the motor cortex of your brain when you move slowly, okay? That's the part of your brain that learns and can actually modulate movement. Anytime that we move through life, in a quick way, we're using our cerebellum and we're using basically information we have already had. We're doing something we already know how to do. The only way you learn something new is by doing it slowly. If you can think about learning to play the guitar, you would have to practice the configuration of your fingers and the chords really slowly, right? To learn how to do it. And then over time, you would get a little quicker and a little quicker. And then eventually you don't even have to look at your fingers. And then your hand just knows where to go to play the sound that you want to make. So with somatics, we're learning to refine and adjust the way that you move. And therefore we have to go slowly. Okay. One of the major principles. Very important. If you do it quickly, you won't get the intended benefit. Okay. Another question. Why is it so hard to go slowly? Is it because I'm impatient? Is it because, like, you know, what's the reason that it's so difficult for me to move slowly? Well, going back to learning something new, going slowly can be hard because we're in new territory when we're doing something new, and when we're going slowly. We're confronted by our, I guess, lack of knowledge in this area. And so it can be uncomfortable simply on a physical level because you're doing something with your body that you've never done before. Like, imagine walking into a breakdancing class and you've never taken a dance class, and you look around at everybody and the way they're moving and it looks so easy, but then you go to try it and you feel like, what am I doing? Like, my legs are not doing what I asked my legs to do. But if you stuck with it and you moved your legs really slowly and you accepted that it's a little bit awkward at first, it would get easier over time. And it's exactly the same way with somatics. In the beginning, it's very difficult for people to move slowly doing this kind of movement because they've just never done it before. But then as they start to practice it, they get better and better. And then suddenly there's a moment, and many of my clients can tell you this, where it no longer feels so hard to go slow. It actually feels very pleasurable and comfortable to go this slowly in the way they move. Okay? Next question. Do I have to do it every day to get benefit? No, you don't. You can do a session with me. I have clients that do sessions maybe, you know, every month or so, or a couple times a week, or a couple times a month. There are people who do their practice kind of intermittently, like whenever they feel like they need it, they do it. But again, going back to the analogy of learning to play guitar, I like to tell my clients, you're learning a new skill. And so in order to cultivate that skill, to build those neural pathways to your muscles, to teach them how to do this, it does take practice. And obviously, every day is how you're going to make the biggest, deepest changes. But I still have clients who don't practice every day, but have some consistency in their practice and get plenty of benefit. I mean, if you've ever had a session with me or taken a class, you know that you immediately get benefit right after that session or right after that class. And depending on your life, that benefit can travel into the rest of your week or the rest of your day, right? So you don't have to practice every day, but the deepest, most profound changes in the way that your body moves and is structured come with daily practice, just like anything else. Okay? So these are the most common questions that I get asked. I see there's a few people who are watching. If you would like to ask any questions, and I'll see if I can think of anything that I usually get asked that I didn't put on my list today. But yeah, and then if you're watching the replay, you can type your question in the box, and I'm super happy to answer it as well. Let's see, what other questions do people usually ask me? Let's see. Oh, I have gotten an x-ray. This is a really common question, actually. I've gotten an x-ray and we've taken a look at my spine, and I have certain discs that are compressed. I have certain discs that are degenerating. Can somatics help me with the places in my spine that are out of alignment, that are under pressure? The answer is yes, it can. It can definitely change things. For the number one reason that people's bones are shifting and that you're out of alignment, right? If you go to see a chiropractor and they tell you that your bones are out of alignment, well, why did they get out of alignment? The reason it's your muscles and the tension in your body is pulling your bones out of alignment. So somatics directly addresses that because we change what the muscles are doing, which is very powerful. In fact, there are many chiropractors who have had, well, not many. There are some chiropractors who've had Hanna Somatic educators work with them, and they found that it makes the adjustments stay in the person's body a lot longer because the muscles are not immediately pulling them back out of balance. So I think that Hanna Somatics can be a wonderful addition to a chiropractic treatment because of that very reason, that the muscles are more relaxed and more balanced, and therefore the bones are not going to get out of alignment as quickly again. So yes, that's another question that I get asked often. But let me know if you have any questions that I didn't answer here. I am right now receiving applications and doing interviews for my 6-month program, where we explore somatic movement and food for 6 months together as a group. It's a really powerful program, and I'm super excited to bring the next round into the world. And the benefits and the things that I'm seeing people achieve and experience and let go of and transform during this time together, it's just incredible. And I'm so grateful that I get to share this really powerful space with other people. So if you're interested in the program, I am accepting applications, and I'll post a little link to the information about that in the comments. And yeah, I hope everybody has a beautiful Thursday. I've decided recently to go live on Thursdays for a few reasons, but instead of my usual Friday slot. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and I will definitely see you guys next Thursday with my next live. And enjoy your evening, enjoy your day.